You've heard of the Pythagorean theorem.
Yes.
Surely. But did you know there is a triangle theorem? A triangle basketball theorem. Welcome to the OG. I'm Joe Giglio. That is obviously not Joe Ovius. Joe Ovius is in Disneyland.
I know.
Not world, land.
Land out on the West Coast. The left coast, as some people call it.
Amazing. Amazing. We are in the Eford Studios. We're brought to you by Copiers Plus. That's copiers-plus.com. I got my rollback on today. I get my peaches out in Georgia. My camera's slightly off. This is my Wolfpack variety. You can go to rollback.com, RHO-back.com. You are not a golf person, but
no,
you can vouch for the hoodies.
Dude, the hoodie is incredible. It's incredible. It's not too warm, so you could wear it much later than your average hoodie.
Yes, and I wear it without anything underneath. I wear it just the hoodie.
Sure.
It's very comfortable. Yeah. It's very, cozy, all of those good things. So here we are. And I may have screwed up the settings because we have 9 people watching right now. So,
hi, everybody.
I just like to do this because it's easier on me.
I hear you.
So we are recording today. We are technically recording. You'll see this at 2 p.m. Joe Ovis is already probably laughing at me. So,
well, except for 9 of you who are seeing it right now.
Right. So rollback.com. Use our promo code OG20. You can get 20% off. This is the NC State shirt. They have a busted bracket shirt that is amazing. Also describes pretty much anyone who didn't go chalk this year.
God, isn't that so boring?
It really, truly is. So, but let's get into the triangle. Demetri Ravanos, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I just assume everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, I think people know my big fat face.
I'm just assuming. And speaking of amazing shirts.
Oh, yeah. This is from back when I was trying to do a t-shirt company called Shirt SEC, my Alabama basketball school shirt.
We're going to get into the SEC and what they're doing right now for Duke, but that's in a little bit. First, the triangle basketball theorem. If you are unfamiliar with this, I always tell you there is a push in the pull to the universe. And while Will Wade and any other coach who gets introduced at NC State or Carolina or Duke can get up there and talk about us, and we're what matters, and it doesn't matter what our neighbors are doing. No, it actually does. And that is because if one team goes to the Final Four or wins the national championship, I promise you the next year, one of them will be back in the Final Four.
Until you laid this out for me, I did not realize how prevalent this is throughout history.
So it has happened 13 times now.
That's crazy.
Tell me again how many times Auburn and now this is just back to back for Auburn and Alabama, but we could even throw in Auburn's national championship appearance.
Sure.
The last year, the BCS. So it's happened twice to your knowledge?
Twice. Once they've won, and twice they've been. That's right.
So they've won back-to-back titles one time
as
schools, as rivals.
Yep.
And they've appeared in the championship game back-to-back years, another year.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the 13th time Duke, Carolina, or State has followed the other into the Final Four. Goes back to 1966, 67. I won't go through the whole list. I will paste it, though, on the Twitters and socials so people can see it. The interesting years, of course, are the behind you where you see the triangle good, the embrace, 82 to 83. State, Carolina wins Dean Smith's first title. Right. Of course, Jim Valvano creates March Madness in 83. 92, Duke wins the second of their back-to-back titles, and you're thinking, man, Dean's really lost it. He's been replaced by Mike Krzyzewski. Dean never went back-to-back. Mike Krzyzewski goes back-to-back, wins 91, 92 the very next year down in New Orleans.
That's right.
Dean Smith wins his second and final national title in 93. Then they trade Final Fours really throughout. This is a State fan's nightmare from 93, 94, 94, 95, 98, 99, 99, 00. 0-0 gets us to Duke 01 as national title winners. Yep. And then 9 gets us again. You're thinking, man, Roy Williams wins that second title. He's really surpassed Mike Krzyzewski. Mike's dead. He's too busy coaching the dream team.
That's right. His focus is elsewhere.
He's not concentrating on college basketball or Duke basketball. What a shame. And then, of course, the very next year, Duke wins Mike Krzyzewski's fourth national title in 2010. John Shire, his steady as you go point guard on that team. 15, 16, Duke wins it in 15. UNC's there in 16. And then, of course, 2024, the year of the Wolf. NC State beats Duke to get to the Final Four. And now Duke here in the Final Four in 2025. That doesn't even count 91 or 2022 when Carolina and Duke were in the Final Four.
The Final Four, yeah.
Together. So I just respectfully, I know it's a Monday.
Sure.
But everyone who's like, yeah, Yankees, Red Sox, yeah, Alabama, Auburn, yeah.
All right, we don't have to make this personal.
Michigan, Ohio State. We have the greatest, whatever. Just please stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty please.
I will say to that point, I have never seen, like, certainly Alabama fans love when Auburn loses to like a New Mexico State, right? But I have never seen the stores that line University Avenue in Tuscaloosa selling merchandise from the school that knocked Auburn off the way, like, for years, Lehigh stuff was available on Franklin Street.
So my real introduction to this rivalry for Duke and Carolina specifically, again, in the 90s, State was in the wilderness. Okay.
Right.
When I was at State was in the wilderness. My real introduction to this was in 99.
Okay.
I'm at the News and Observer. At the time, my wife we were just dating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She had spent an inordinate amount of time, though, working on this special section. Because at the time you did special sections, you used to see them on the court at the time. So you got to do all those in advance. So you have them on the court, right? So she spent all this time doing this Duke special section. And I mean, I picked Duke in 99. Duke was a war machine in 99, right? Like, arguably K's greatest team of all time.
From 99 to 01, any Duke loss was celebrated nationwide.
Well, here I am in the newsroom thinking, News and Observer back in the old McDowell Street location. And that was back when sports was on one floor, sports and news was on another. And I just remember when Trajan Langdon dribbled the ball off of his foot, traveled twice in the last minute of that game to effectively have UConn win that national title in 99. There was a roar in that building. Now, a lot of them were Carolina fans. Right. A lot of them were, other fans or whatever. A lot of them, though, were Carolina fans. Yeah. And it was like this real sentiment of, we do not want to see Duke win.
Right.
And I thought to myself, wow, I had just graduated from State like 2 years prior. So I'd been here for like 3 or 4 or 5 years. I didn't quite get, though, how much there was a real push and pull to the universe, as I like to say. So good for Duke. I don't know if that was quite your reaction as an Alabama grad, but to me, the game was over in the first 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, easily.
Because Alabama is a team that has to be in front. Alabama is a team that has to see the ball go in the basket early. They are a confidence team. They are the kind of team that is not great on the defensive end. And I believe it was the Caleb Foster or Isaiah Evans backdoor basket that I was like, this is an early wrap. And even you texted.
I texted you and said, it's getting late early. And I told you that I thought the BYU game was the worst thing that could have happened to Alabama.
So an NCAA tournament record, 25 threes in that game for Alabama.
It wasn't just 25 threes. It was that Mark Sears, I think, shot over 60% from three in that game. And Sears is not a dude, even though he plays point guard, he's not a dude that wants to give the ball up. And sometimes, and you saw this very early with that pass that just got picked off and run down the court for an easy bucket. Sometimes he just gets lazy with the passes, and Grant Nelson gets lazy finishing a rebound, and that creates another opportunity for Duke. Combine that with the fact that Duke was just too big for Alabama. Like, it was over probably from tip, Joe.
I actually thought Duke did a really nice job on Cooper Flagg, particularly in the way that Flagg had dominated Arizona.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he put on a signature performance in the Sweet 16. So I could see, Nate Oates, the little mouse turning in the cage. All right, if we can take him out, we can win this basketball game, or if we can limit him, right? Because if you think about the Clemson game, now, to be clear, Alabama doesn't have Clemson's size. Okay.
Right.
But I could see the little mouse turning in the cage. If we could limit Flagg and not let him dominate us, we could win the basketball game.
Yeah.
And this is where Con Knippel really came in. And I got to tell you, like, I was very excited to see Duke play the way that they did, because, as you know, from the OG newsletter and our OG fan subscribers, like, I've been writing about how Duke has to play to win,
right?
And how I think they have to play. I couldn't have penned this script any better for Duke than the way that they played against Alabama with the different parts that they have, and Malwatch really being that enforcer at the rim.
Malawak, boy, not only enforcer at the rim, finishing some of those easy alley-oops, but also when they move Malawak out to the perimeter to cover Mark Sears and make it clear, not only are you not making shots, you're not taking shots tonight. Like Duke really was. You wrote about this maybe about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, that Duke does have all the makings and checks all the boxes of being the monster in college basketball this season. We're just waiting to see them actually do it. Like, to me, that was the moment where it was just like, we are going to take this dude who people probably think of third.
And think about that.
Right. And just make this day incredibly unpleasant for this team that I think nationally people have said Alabama is fun to watch when it is working. And Duke's idea was like, no, nobody is having fun tonight.
Let me be clear about my thoughts on Alabama.
Yeah.
I thought, and we have a listener down in Alabama who follows us. He's a Carolina grad, lives down in T-Town. So I appreciate him keeping up with us. Yeah. I told him he's the reason we do this, because he's like, no, I get to keep up from home. He's our
for sure.
We're his connection to home. So I appreciate that. I want to be clear on Alabama. I had an Alabama ticket to make the Final Four. I felt very good about that. Except I knew they couldn't be with Auburn, right?
Right.
The committee wasn't going to put them with Auburn.
Yeah.
And then you figure they don't put them with Florida either. So now you got a 1 in 2 chance. I know Houston, I've been disrespecting you a lot, but I think Alabama is the kind of team that would have been which style of game whose style wins.
Yeah.
If Alabama had been with Houston, I would have had more confidence that Alabama could beat Houston for that specific reason.
Right.
Not because I'm disrespecting Houston, but because of
I
thought Alabama was the best offensive team in the country. We all know Duke is the best defensive team in the country.
Right.
I just thought and Alabama's flaw, of course, was they never could get enough stops when they needed them.
Absolutely.
And that goes back to the Auburn game. That goes back to the Florida game.
Every
in the
game
SEC tournament.
Every game they've lost this season, except for the Tennessee game, which was a buzzer beater. They've lost the exact same way. It got away from them early.
Yeah. And I really want to respect Duke's Twitter game here. And I think some Carolina fans have been upset by this. If you don't, speaking of push and pull.
Sure.
If you don't know, Carolina has been to the Final Four more than any other program.
Right.
Okay. And I don't know about your thoughts on the Final Four, but when do you consider the actual start of the tournament, the Final Four, like as we know it?
Because interesting.
To give you an example, like NC State has a banner up from the 50s when it was an 18 tournament.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you won one game and no one considered that to be like the Final Four.
Right.
So
I guess not growing up with the lore and allure, honestly, of college basketball, to me, Final Four, let's call it Final Four culture.
Yeah. And you're a little bit younger.
Starts in the 80s.
Okay. There's an argument to be made that Larry Bird and Magic Johnson created the NCAA tournament. Yes, I know that UCLA won it a bunch of times before then. Right. And I'm promising we're not going to argue about that today. So let's just say that 79, to your point, is the start. Okay. Some people then go to, when did it become a 64 team tournament, which would be 85, aka the modern era.
Right.
Now, of course, if you're Carolina, you're sitting here saying, oh, no. We're counting everything. And it's in their defense. They beat Wilt Chamberlain with like a 6'4" center.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I would count that one too, for sure.
I mean, and look, just by the nature of the title, right? You were one of the Final Four teams. Who cares if it wasn't the Final Four of now?
I know.
I mean, I hear you. I totally understand what you're saying.
I did wake up to see some things on my socials of some Carolina fans not real happy with this graphic from Duke. Most Final Four teams in the 64 team era. As you see now, that gives you Duke with the lead.
Right.
14, Carolina 12, Kansas there with 9. And they were trying to make this the and 35% of the money. That's fairly ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
That you're there a third of the time. That's preposterous. They were trying to make this the Penn State has had a person in the Super Bowl every year.
This is more valid.
Yeah.
Except that that. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure you and I were on the same page. They weren't trying to one up their people there. So Todd is my guy in T-Town. I just wanted to give him a quick shout out. So Demetri, you are here today. This is the OG.
Yes.
You know what we gotta do? Real quick. Every time we talk about ACC basketball, it's brought to you by my friends Brian and Julie Donnelly. They are the Keller Williams team. Triangle ncommercial.com. I know this is a very specific niche, but if your office, if you need a bigger boat,
I was about to say, but what area is this less niche than Triangle?
If you need a bigger boat, if you need a space to, as Joe likes to say, store all of our tchotchkes, to store all of our bobbleheads, to store all of our bottles of bourbon, give Brian and Julie a call. 919-616-8681. And this is the part of the program where I struggle, but this is why I did it live.
Sure.
Because when you do it live, it forces you to get everything right. Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana Green Cleaning, EnovanaGreenCleaning.com. All right, Demetri, you are here today on Monday. We were going to be celebrating this week, and we still are going to celebrate. It's just going to be, we need a little minute to get there, right?
Right. So for everybody that has purchased tickets to Balls versus Cancer with Ovius and Giglio and the Sklar brothers, thank you. Hold on to them. The show is going to have to be postponed, though. It was supposed to be, in 2 weeks? A little over 2
April
weeks?
15th.
April 15th. The show is moving. It is moving to September 19th. That is the Friday before State plays Duke. So everybody should be in town. It'll be a great way to kick off that weekend. Come out, help us raise some money for the fight against testicular cancer. Enjoy a great world-renowned comedy act in the Sklar brothers, as well as Ovius and Giglio. But I do, unfortunately,
no, we were true. We if Bamani was in 178 point font, we were in 4-point font. Now the Sklar brothers would be in 1,000 point font. We would we would be on the back.
Yeah,
it would be and guests to appear.
You know what I
mean? Those guys are huge.
Guys, I haven't told you this, but I do want to share this with you. The artist that did the poster that we were going to sell at the show, did this beautiful design and in big letters wrote, starring the Sklar brothers and Ovius and Giglio. I did have to tell her, hey, you might want to knock Ovius and Giglio down just a little bit.
Perfectly acceptable. We know our role.
So September 19th, if you have tickets, they are still good. Look, tickets are on sale now at the Rialto and at eTix, therialto.com, and at eTix. This show is happening. It is just not happening April 15th. It is happening September 19th now.
Easy enough. 919.
There you go.
The 919.
Oh, look at that.
Balls versus Cancer.
Hang on. We might have to change the name of the show and redesign the logo.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
There you go. We are in the 919. Our event will be 919. The Sklar brothers are amazing. They're so funny.
Yeah.
Really am looking forward to that at the Rialto. So again, you can go to therialto.com, catch us in September instead of April.
Now think about it this way. Now the Rialto, Ovius and Giglio live events. In August, you have the podcast festival.
Yes.
September, you have whatever it is that Balls versus Cancer is going to become, because now 919 is pretty good. I got to work it in.
I know we're not allowed to like Drake anymore, but it feels back to back to me. Speaking of celebrations for the OG, our birthday, we're turning 2.
Very excited about this.
I am. Yeah, I'm irrationally excited about our birthday, and not mine. My birthday, I'm turning 50 this year.
Sure.
My parents, my wife, my sister, they're like, "What are we doing for your birthday? Come on, we gotta do." And obviously, if I'm turning 50, the people I grew up, my best friends are turning 50 too. So I was like, "All right, we'll do something. We'll hit up one of our good friends here in downtown. We'll have a nice meal." I said, but honestly, I'm not mad about turning 50. I had the existential crisis of seeing the Saturday Night Live because I was born the year Saturday Night Live started.
Right.
And I've processed all of that. But I am legit excited about the OG birthday. In part because that means there'll be a raffle.
Ooh.
And I love a raffle. I'm like, I have a bottle here. Here it is. We're going to always have the good stuff for the birthday raffle. but the kernel is in play. This is the good kernel too, thanks to our friend Chris. May 1st, it's a Thursday. Okay. So I have Whitaker and Hamer up right now on the slide. That's because we'll be in Garner, downtown Garner at Shady's. That's Josh's place. Any kind of legal needs, like Joe Avish just got a ticket, speeding ticket. Hit him up, wh.lawyer. All right. You are here. Oh, hold on. We did them. Oh, since you've been here last,
yes,
Demetri, we've added a new sponsor, Miller Lending.
Oh,
well, you know Gordon Miller.
Sure.
Of course, Austin Herbert, my good friend at Miller Lending. If you are like me and have a credit card debt, listen, I am not spectacular at math. I pretend to be because Ovius isn't, but
right.
My credit card rate is in the 22, 23, 24%.
Oof.
Okay. That's not great.
No.
I get it. Your mortgage rate right now, I promise you, is not 22, 23,
right.
24%. So give them a call about refinancing. Get the cash out refi. It's millerlending.com, 919-447-3377. If you go to millerlending.com/theog, they have a landing page just for us. You tell them that the OG sent you. They have a gift basket from the Raleigh Wine Shop that is just outstanding. Gordon can tell us even more. He'll be here on Wednesday.
Oh,
he's going to come into the studio on Wednesday and help me out with Wednesday's show. But if you're like me, if you're like our guy Ryan, if you need to refi, get a little cash out refi, settle those old debts like a Lannister, go to millerlending.com/theog.
It took me a second. I thought you said settle those old debts like Alanis did.
Oh,
yeah. Take that, Joey.
Take that. All right, I feel like it's only appropriate, Demetri, Alabama grad, SEC wonk, that you're here on a day to discuss Duke basketball in the year of our Lord 2025. Is it possible? Is it possible? After we did a whole show at Bomani at the Rialto, is it possible that this Duke team is not only likable, but maybe even slightly lovable?
It might be possible. Okay. I will say they certainly are not as hateable as the stereotypical Duke team.
Okay.
That is for sure.
Do you have any theories? I have two.
Okay.
If you have one, let's start with yours.
Okay.
Because this coffee still hasn't kicked in yet.
Yep.
And I know this is live.
Okay.
By accident.
You're
the
gonna
coffee needs to come home.
You're going to think I'm joking, but I swear to you, I think this is part of it.
Okay.
There are some silly ass names on this Duke team.
Names.
It's not a Grayson Allen. It's not a Greg Paulus. There's a dude that my son and I were calling Big Nips. God Knipple. Malawatch.
What doesn't bring father and son together?
Right.
Like Big Nips.
I don't think you can really, if you do not have a son, if you are not a dude and you do not have a son, you really cannot appreciate that 13 really is the age that, like, oh, that's where the Venn diagram is a perfect circle of our senses of humor. But yeah, I mean, I think there is something fun about just how goofy the names on this team is. I know that is a very silly theory, but I think it helps.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with that. The John Shire is good looking theory. I thought you were
I was going to
venture down to that.
I was saving that one for later because I did see, like, there is evidence to that one. I saw plenty of women in the sports Twitter realm asking openly, is part of the reason I don't hate this Duke team because John Shire is a fairly attractive man.
He's also just he's likable.
He is likable.
I mean, now anyone who followed K that's not cut from the West Point cloth,
right,
is probably going to be a little more softer around the edges, right?
So here is my question.
That doesn't mean John's soft,
right?
But
here's my question about that: does handsome John Shire, does that dissipate once he gets this national championship? Do we stop with the, this team is likable once they are reestablished as, they very much can be that force they were in the late 90s and early 2000s where we were launching diddukewin.com?
All right, so here we go. So there's two things at play here, I believe. And let's build off of that point right
Okay.
now. Mike Krzyzewski goes to the Final Four in what was it, 6 times in an 8-year run, and it was always Danny Ferry.
Mhm.
It was always Christian Laettner. It was always Bobby Hurley.
Yeah.
Like, you look up and you're like, fucking white guys, how do they keep doing this? Right? That's part of it.
Yeah.
That is part of it. And as Bomani laid out at the Basketball Jones, like, they beat all of your favorite black teams. All of them.
Right.
UNLV, Georgetown, the Fab Five, like all of them. Okay. That was part of it. There's an element there. But they were back. It was Laettner's back, like back before COVID, back before eligibility was 20 years. You're like, because people were going early.
Of course.
2 years, 3 years max. You know, Jordan was at Carolina for 3 years. Then it became, then we got into the, oh, wait a second, I'm going to go for 1 year. Right. So stars just didn't stay. Right. So that was part of it. So I think part of this era that Duke has been in really since 12, since their one and done era started, take out a Plumlee here or there, they've mostly been a new group every year. So that helps because familiarity breeds contempt.
Right.
And to your point about Greg Paulus, it's like, now, how many times do I have to watch this guy get dunked on? That brings me to my second point about this Duke team and the way that they play basketball. I don't know if it's the nature of college basketball now.
Okay.
Or if it's just maybe when you're more talented, you don't have to play that way.
I know where you're going
and
with
specifically, I mean, can you remember the last time Duke flopped?
No, I really can't.
Like, Cooper Flagg, say what you want about him on the offensive end. He hunts the dunk.
Yeah.
On the defensive end, he does not take charges.
Yeah.
He tries to block shots. Like, that's what he does. Malwatch is obviously at 7'2" with that 9-foot wingspan, not taking charges. Con Knipple, who be the closest thing you have to your feisty little white guy on this Duke team, not out there taking charges.
Right.
Okay. So there's no Wojo here. There's no Chris Collins with his hair and his daddy's money and all the other bullshit baggage that came with Chris Collins.
Right.
There's no Paulus. There's not even a Shane Battier, doing this.
Yep.
And slapping the floor and just and mostly as LeBron James recently has said, just being a bitch,
That's like, I was gonna say the Knipple thing. This really stood out during the Alabama game. He was just stone cold from outside, from inside, from everywhere.
Playmaking too.
And it was like, I always thought that when he was on, not all the time, but when he was on, Grayson Allen was just a playmaker. The problem was Grayson Allen was also kind of a twat.
Yeah.
Right. And Todd Knipple is just not that.
I completely glossed over the Grayson Allen, the last of the hated Mohicans.
Right.
I apologize.
Right.
Grayson Allen.
Possibly the peak of the mountain.
Still breaking arms and elbows in the NBA to this day, which salute to you for still being in the NBA.
Yeah. I think there is.
So that's a nice little combo platter. You have a seemingly young, handsome, likable coach.
Yep.
You have a style of play that is pleasing. You're not flopping. You don't have repeatable characters.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think those are all things that work for them. But now let's get to, pardon the SEC Alabama pun.
Sure.
The elephant in the room. I got texts over since the end of the Duke game till today. I've gotten a text from a Wake fan. I've gotten a text from a State fan. I've gotten a text from a Carolina fan. And they all said the same thing. Yes. Good call. They've all said the same thing. Please beat the SEC. And I laid this out on the After Dark. I wanted Tennessee to win because I want, like Charlie Murphy, I want the SEC to come and get their whooping right now. They beat Duke. I'm like, bring Tennessee to San Antonio. Shit, I hope both Auburn and Florida somehow end up in the final. Make it a whole SEC gauntlet. Let's see Duke just rip through all of them.
Yeah.
That is my hope. And I think we finally reached a point in college basketball. 3 years since I embarrassed myself at my former employer and picked an all SEC Final Four, and not a single fucking one of them got there.
That's
okay.
Right. Roll Tide.
We finally reached a point where I think people are like, oh shit, the SEC really does rule college basketball. And I think people are actually, just based on apocryphal evidence from my own phone, I think even Carolina fans are like, just beat the SEC, please.
Right.
We'll put up with the eternal struggle of Final Fours and national titles because, as I pointed out in the first segment,
Yep,
Carolina might be there next year.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
The way this thing works.
I mean, this is why, like, the whole, I didn't like the whole, like, best year that any conference has ever had in history conversation about the SEC, because you are right. You've been saying it for a long time. College basketball is a year-to-year proposition. Like, next year very well could be the year that the SEC is struggling to get a fifth team into the tournament again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that quite much whiplash, but yeah, I think there's a real pushback here. Like, like I mentioned the story from '99 of the newsroom erupting and shit.
Right.
You know how much you have to do to get Carolina fans to actually not, to your point, not hate Duke.
Right.
Like, maybe they don't like them, but not hate them, and even be like, I'd rather see Duke than an SEC team win this. So I think that's the point we're at.
Obviously, Auburn is a very special case. Like, I hope Auburn loses everything all the time. If the war on terror was Al-Qaeda versus Auburn, I would be rooting for Al-Qaeda. That is not an exaggeration. That being said, I do, like, there is a part of me that totally buys into what you're saying, because I can't watch Bruce fucking Pearl win a national championship. I just can't. And I don't entirely feel the same way about Todd Golden. However, if it comes down to
Not yet. I feel like Todd Golden's a not yet.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about Golden.
Right? Like,
here's the thing about Golden that I couldn't help but notice throughout the tournament. You notice that whenever the sideline reporter pulls the coach aside, asks him one question, and then it's over, the sideline reporter says, "Thank you." And usually the coach says, "Thank you" back. Golden says, "You're welcome." I don't know why. It just rubs me the wrong way. So, yeah, I will be rooting hard for whoever wins Duke Houston, probably Duke. And, being an SEC guy, it is a little bit different, because if it were my SEC team, I wouldn't feel that way. But, yeah, I don't want to see the two SEC teams left celebrate a national championship.
You do not.
No. Even though I am holding a parlay ticket in order to win the men, South Carolina to win the women.
Well, that's a good parlay to have.
Yeah, I think so. Although, speaking of Duke basketball, boy, did the women try to drag South Carolina into the mud yesterday.
Oh, going back to the Sweet 16 game, the Carolina Duke game. I mean, I thought the score was a misprint.
We've been talking about this on the women's basketball podcast all year long. Duke is going to make sure nobody has fucking fun today.
Okay. I understand that, but I didn't know it was to that level.
Yeah.
Congrats to Dawn Staley, though. 5 in a row.
Amazing.
That's not easy to do.
No.
I know, it's women's basketball. There's only 10 good teams or whatever.
Not anymore.
5 in a row in this era.
Yeah.
That's doing something.
Yeah.
So congrats to them. And you know what? Carol Lawson, tip of the hat.
Yes, indeed.
Because sometimes you have to figure out how you have to play and what your style is.
Yep.
And I thought she put her team in a position to win, even though it may not be the most aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. I didn't think it was possible for this to happen. So congratulations to the SEC.
Yeah.
It definitely does mean more that you finally now pushed the Triangle into a situation where obviously not all Carolina fans, obviously not all State fans, but I would say we're in the majority at this point who are like, yes, I'd rather see Duke. I'd rather see the ACC team win than anyone from the SEC.
The SEC annoyance and the Duke acceptance, I think, can sort of be almost like
Predator bean.
Yeah, well, it's like they are two branches off of the same tree, which is, it is always easier to root for a traditional power or a team like that is as good as Duke is when they don't pretend to be the underdog.
Okay.
And
they've fully embraced who they are. Duke has fully embraced who they are.
SEC culture, like for years, Nick Saban was, and Kirby Smart now is doing the nobody believed in us thing. And that shit is annoying.
Did you watch the Auburn game and the way that Janai Broom gets hurt and then he comes back out? You did?
I refuse.
the poor on floor announcer had said, "Oh, that was a Willis Reed moment," and I'm saying, my old ass is like, buddy, nobody knows what you're talking about right now, because I had someone text me, a youth, my guy Brendan was like, "Oh, he's pulled a Paul Pierce right now,"
right.
And I was like, even in my brain, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got to reteach your own brain." But when she was like, "Oh yeah, it was a Willis Reed," and I'm like, not a single person knows what you're talking about. But under the age of 50.
I was about to say, we're what, 16 years since the Paul Pierce, but is it going to be a Cooper Flag moment soon?
Oh, with the, Broom with the elbow.
Sure.
I mean, it did look bad. Obviously, they had X-rayed them. Props though to the Auburn fans. I'll also say where you're making some inroads in the SEC. That was a home game.
Oh,
I know it was Atlanta. But man, they were loud.
I told you this a while ago.
Sparty is a brand.
Yeah.
And they travel everywhere. They go everywhere.
Yeah.
And Auburn, that was a freaking home game for Auburn.
I told you this a while ago. What Bruce Pearl has built there and turning Auburn into a basketball culture, I think it's sustainable. I really do.
You do.
I do. Because
his kid's on the staff, so maybe he'll try to pull the actual classic coach.
I don't even necessarily mean that. I mean, like, the fan base has bought into we can be a basketball power.
I mentioned not everyone in the Triangle loves when Duke has success, but there is one person I'm always happy for Duke's success. Matt Davis, a true Duke fan. Matt Davis, insuregarner.com. Matt Davis, State Farm, over on Aversboro Road in Garner. Okay, you want to save money? You want to maybe save money after you go to San Antonio? You're like, man, I got to figure out a way the rest of the year to save money.
Right.
That was me last year, man. Check in with Matt Davis, 919-779-8277. Yeah, they'll have an actual conversation with you about home insurance, life insurance, auto insurance, and yes, you will save money. Maybe you're thinking about, next year I want to be in a different school district. There's a lot of new construction around right now in the Triangle. I got an idea. Don't try to do this on your own. Go with the experts at Hometown Realty. It's myhtr.com. myhtr.com. Buy and sell with confidence. I did it, Demetri. I did it. I went to the butcher's market over on Lake Boone Trail.
Tell me more.
And I made it through an entire visit without buying hot dogs.
Look at you. Congratulations.
The growth is amazing. It's amazing.
Can I tell you what people don't tell you when you walk into a butcher's market? Because you walk in and you think, I've listened to Ovi's and Giglio's steak tips, hot dogs. Nobody tells you that they have like a whole cooler full of desserts. Just wait.
Yeah.
Like, they can take care of your whole meal, start to finish.
Oh, I thought you were aware of this.
Oh, no, I was. I'm making sure the people know.
Making sure the people know. Yeah. I at some point, I'm going to have a butcher's market challenge. Like, buy something, and if you don't like it, I'll replace it.
Ooh.
Like, I am that confident that anything you get out of the butcher's market, you're going to enjoy. Now, they do have some exotic things in that frozen section. So I'm not quite ready. We had a good tax year this year, but I'm not quite ready to offer the butcher's market challenge financially, right? But I am confident that if you go in there, you will find something that will satisfy you. And of course, you can always go over there, get a steak sandwich, get a turkey sandwich. Their lunches are amazing. I prefer the Lake Boone location, but they're all over the Triangle. So hit them up, our friends at the Butcher's Market.
Just try to get out of there without buying a cookie at that impulse buy right at the register.
Without the cookie?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, see, like, you're more along the lines of Ovius and you're adventurous.
Yeah.
I have this brain where I get caught and I'm just like, no, it has to be this.
I've sampled many aware from the exotic meat freezer before.
Okay. Well, see, maybe I'll go with you.
There you go.
Maybe that's the real play here. Maybe I need to have someone. I need a Sherpa.
Yeah.
I need a butcher's market Sherpa. Every once in a while, Joe comes up with a new graphic for me that I don't even know about.
That would look really good.
Look at that. I think that's known in the business as a stinger. Joe Giglio, radio Radio veteran. Speaking of radio bits that no one, and I mean no one has ever done, hot and cold, brought to you by our friends at 1-800-Plumber. It's 1-800-Plumber and Air, 1-800-Plumber.com. The name is that's who they are. 1-800-Plumber. Go. The name is the number.
The name is the number.
Go get them. Not only your plumbing needs, but HVAC needs. I don't know about you, but I'm in this bad cycle right now of I get home, the house is too hot, turn the air on. I wake up, the house is freezing cold, turn the air off, and I'm just like, this can't be good for my HVAC. I need to have the guys out to come give you one of those spring tune-ups.
Absolutely.
They can handle all those things too. So.
Listen, I bet some of you are like me, where your HVAC system is in the attic.
Yes,
that bad boy is playing catch up all year long.
Yeah,
or all summer long at least.
There's no doubt. Would you like to start with the cold?
I would. Weekend? Why are we still doing spring football on television, Joe Giglio?
Oh, they are?
The UFL, respectfully to the people that are trying to make a go of it in the UFL, respectfully, get the fuck out of here. Like, it is just unwatchable garbage football.
Okay.
It's not even...
Has it even started, or is this like a preemptive
No, it started this weekend.
Okay.
It started this weekend, and I knew not because... By the way, I have a couple of really good friends working on the UFL, but still, fuck that shit. I knew not because...
Well, no, why are they starting? This really should be a post-Masters venture.
It should, at the very least, it should be post-tournament, where on a Sunday and a Saturday, you have meaningful games going on.
Nothing.
Right.
I
knew not because I was watching the women's tournament early and then the men's tournament in the evening. I was not paying attention to spring football, but my ESPN app kept pushing alerts. Oh, here's what you're missing in DC versus Birmingham.
No.
Yeah, agreed. No.
Listen, there's very few things that I actually care about.
Okay.
As like a fan. Right.
Okay.
The list is being reduced as the years go on. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a Yankees super fan.
Yeah.
But how is one not impressed with 36 runs in March?
Yeah.
In a time where, like, normally we're looking at these games, this is like the time of the year for the David Wells, Jim Abbott.
I was about to say, this is when you are getting film to make pitchers vulnerable later.
I mean, you're freezing your dick off in the Bronx. Like, you're not over there hitting all of these home runs. Now, there's a lot of talk about the reshaped bats that the Yankees seem to have gained the system, the fatter sweet spot. I'm not going to pretend on this program that we care that much about baseball. All I will tell you, though, is the true home run king, the king of the North, is coming for the real record, because he's got 4 in the first 3 games. I think he had 4 in the first 3 months last year.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is a notoriously slow starter. So for him to have 4 home runs already, and for the Yankees to have scored 36 runs at Yankee Stadium in March.
And was it Saturday?
Well, there 50 games? Like, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Saturday, it was Saturday, right? The first inning, their first 3 batters all hit home runs, and then they hit another one later that
off a former Yankee.
Yeah.
Nasty nester. So props to the Yankees for taking care of business. And once again, thanks to our friends for this all unique segment. Never been done before. Hot and cold. 1-800-Plumber. 1-800-Plumber.com. Plumbing and air for all of your HVAC and plumbing needs. This now requires a transition. Let's see.
I don't care for the 8-bit sunglasses on Ophius in that bumper.
You don't?
No. Ridiculous.
Seems like a very specific protest.
I mean, it's just like, you and I both know Joe Ophius. He's not 8-bit sunglasses cool.
All right. Well, I'll let you take that up with him.
All right. Very good.
Okay. That's totally fair. We're now on to the lightning round. The lightning round is brought to you by Sam Jones. I am going to play the music because I do know I have all these buttons. I got all those things. I just want to say about Sam Jones, when you go, it's downtown off of Lenore. There's always parking over there. Okay, that's number one. They have a great lunch option. All right, and when you go, you're going to get texts from Sam Jones. And I know you're sitting there thinking, Giglio, I don't want to be spammed. Oh, you don't want to save money?
You're right.
Like, they literally will text me at the beginning of the week. Hey, here's a little 10% off. Here's a 15% off. Hey, if you buy this, you can get this. All because when you order, you're using the zapper, you order, and they got your information. But they send you good things.
Right.
Not bad things.
Right.
They don't call you. They text you and say, hey, we know you like to go to our spot for lunch, so hit us up. Here we are.
This I do need to share. This comment from Plum and Jello. You guys making comments on top of everything that's written. He's going to read and obsess about. So, hey,
No, he doesn't.
Does he not?
No, he doesn't watch the podcast when he's not here.
Oh, no, that I understand. But if you are going to tell me that Joe Ovius does not know everything that is said about him, I would like to show you my text thread.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was going to hit the comments in the Hey Joe section, but we will get to all this.
All right, very good. Sorry.
Let's start the lightning round with the NFL.
Okay.
Now, we're a hyper local show here. So I was only half surprised that I turned on ESPN radio this morning and they were talking more about Aaron Rodgers and more about Adam Schefter and his complete, he is such a huckster, he is a snake oil salesman. But the NFL meetings are going on. There was one interesting point about the NFL meetings that I thought that we could talk about today.
Okay.
The tush push. There's apparently some movement, according to ESPN. Source: tush push ban has support in competition committee. All right, cool. So tush push, if you're not familiar, the Philadelphia Eagles, they line up Jalen Hurts, they put two guys behind them, they push them, and it's basically unstoppable.
Right.
Now, other teams, notably the Buffalo Bills, have tried, not quite as successful. Then other teams are like, hey, man, fuck that shit. I ain't getting my quarterback hurt. Right. Like, so.
Hi there, Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. So I don't like it because I grew up playing football. When I played football, you were not allowed to pick up a runner and advance them and push them. You weren't allowed to go into the pile and do all this stuff that they're allowed to do now. I don't know why they changed the rule to do all that, but they did.
Yeah.
I respect the Eagles and what they've done here and to work the angles, but honestly, I do not think this is a football play. In my opinion, this is not a football play.
I disagree with you.
But I'm just a loser with a podcast in Raleigh.
Sure.
Well, what bee is in the Green Bay Packers bonnet? That they're the ones who have proposed this and are like, we need to get rid of this shit now.
It's not even like Jordan Love is not he's not a Bryce Young, right? Like where you just couldn't fathom doing this with that guy. I think it is maybe not a football play, but to me, it is like the bare essence of sports. Are our guys stronger than your guys? Can our guys impose our will on your guys? I'm not saying that I like the tush push. I don't feel any particular way about it. I think banning it is silly.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I just don't get it.
I went to 3 college baseball games this weekend.
No tush pushes.
No, but there were shifts. In Major League Baseball, they've banned the shift.
Right.
I was in agreement with that as well.
Sure.
Like, it's kind of like, let's go back to the beginning of the show, triangle and push and pull. Dean Smith came up with 4 corners. Did he like it? No, because he's the guy who also invented. Took John McClellan's fast break and modified it. Okay.
Right.
So he's a guy who was Dean Smith was a guy that said, here are the rules. Okay, fine. I'm going to take advantage of the rules.
Right. Of course.
Now, college basketball had to say, awesome, but nobody wants to watch you hold the ball and not shoot. So hence the shot clock. In my opinion, it's not a football play because you're using 2 people from behind to make a push. And again, I don't like it when there's a scrum and there's a push. I think that's the whole thing you have to go back to. Remember, that used to be illegal to the point where Notre Dame is still crying about the Bush push of Reggie Bush pushing Matt Leinart into the end zone. It used to be an illegal play. Again, I don't know where along the lines we decided. And really why I hate it is when you see the lineman come sprinting, 10, 15 yards away and just blasting into the scrum. And it's like, that is going to set, that is truly an injury and a safety issue to me. Truly.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, I get your point on the line, the point of contact. You don't have that type of collision. It truly is, I'm stronger than you are. You stop it. And for whatever reason, the Eagles are the only ones who have figured out how to perfect it. I tip my hat to them. Just as Dean Smith perfected the 4 corners, I tip my hat to him. But I do think I do think the NFL should intercede, particularly from what we saw in the playoffs with Washington. I'm screwing up here.
Oh, no.
With Washington basically being like, yeah, we're just going to keep jumping off sides and trying times. So,
yeah, I mean, I understand. So when I say, like, to me, it is the bare essence of athleticism. That's one thing. I hear your point, and I don't entirely disagree that sometimes for the good of the product, you have to make a call, right? Banning the shift in baseball, banning the four corners in college basketball. I don't it wouldn't be the end of the world to me if you ban the tush push. It's not a great look, I think, to be the one raising the idea of this play should be illegal because we can't stop it.
That's fair. Anything else from the NFL that has your fancy?
Not really. Been looking at a lot
more
of
kickoff rules. I know they're going to tinker with.
Well, is it they're going to tinker,
they might
or are
bring
they
back,
saying
or
they've got to bring back the onside kick?
Even when you're ahead or whatever it was, even I honestly, I'm so far behind on anything NFL related.
I think the biggest thing they have to do with the onside kick is, like, don't make people declare that you're going to do it. Like, bring back the surprise of it. No, I think the only thing they really are doing with the kickoff rule is apparently last year was supposed to just be a pilot program.
Yes.
Like not fully adopted. I think all I've heard is that they are considering making that the permanent kickoff now.
Okay. I heard that there was going to be a moving of the touchback again, which would bring us back to more sky kicks, which get us to more returns, because the data showed this year under this format, there weren't as many concussions, even though it's still obviously the most dangerous play.
Right.
Even in this format, it's still the most dangerous play.
Right.
So
my
feelings on this, I would have banned the kickoff a long time ago. I loved that Chiefs proposal. It'd be 4th and 20.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have one play to get 20 yards. And if you got it, it's your ball. You play on. And if you don't get it, the other team gets it.
Yeah.
Going the other way. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
I thought that was the way to go. I would start every series on the 25 if it was me.
That
in the Joe Giglio world, that's how I would do it.
That is, I believe, what the original XFL did, right? Didn't they have in lieu of an onside kick, there was a fourth?
Yeah, there was a play in there that they did, but
no,
I'm saying a complete ban of the kickoff. I would just get rid of it.
All right. Yeah. The only thing that I've sort of had my eye on doing, this team is killing us with Lauren, is we are very much locked into the lead up to the draft. And so I just want to remind everybody, mock drafts are fun, but nothing has happened yet.
Are you into your mock draft today yet, or not to those protocols yet?
Not yet. We will get there actually right after everyone is back from spring break.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I'm not doing a mock draft every day to loosen up the muscles.
You're getting ready.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Speaking of getting ready.
It's a lightning round. It's the lightning round.
So to have a little side income, I like to cover games for the Associated Press.
Sure.
With the Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay.
So long story short, they've changed their format to how you cover games.
Okay.
Even in my sleep, I can write a gamer. Right? In my sleep, I can. Okay. The new format for this, like I could be comatose and do this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a little bit of a running joke that when I go to the games, I put a little bit of a stamp on it. Okay. I've done like 15, 16 games. I had to do the first home game after Mikko Rantanen was traded to the Hurricanes.
Okay.
So I had to write it when there's news.
Yeah.
Like
Carolina lets you Mikko Rantanen.
Famously, the Florida Panthers coach got fired after a loss to the Hurricanes in the teens.
Yeah.
And he was waiting for a cab out in front of the then RBC Center. Right. Like if that had happened while I was covering the game, I'd have to write a story. A Panthers coach fired. He was out waiting.
Yeah.
For the taxi. Short of that, it's mostly been fairly easy lifting. Now, it was put on my radar about 2 months ago because someone was like, hey, do you think Alexander Ovechkin's going to break Wayne Gretzky's goal scoring record in Raleigh? And I'm like, looking at my AP schedule, and I'm like,
oh, is that one of your possibilities?
That's one of my games.
Okay.
So Ovechkin did get to 890 on Sunday. He scored his 890th goal. He needs 5 to break the record. I think Giglio has to write the AP story for for the, it'd be a pretty cool byline to
Of
have,
course.
actually. Washington comes here on Wednesday. Unless something really strange happens, I'm probably not going to have to do that. Although if you look at the AP now, they are requiring a separate for every game for the watch. And that's fine.
Okay.
I got no problem handling that. But me having to write he sets the record would have required a pre-write and actual homework, all for the same pay. So we were not looking for that.
What does Washington's schedule look like leading up to that?
Okay, so the Hurricanes don't play again until Wednesday when Ovechkin is here.
Right.
The Hurricanes, as we're taking a hockey break here, let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hail. Yes, thanks to our friends at Happy and Hail. We're doing a segment within a segment here. Go check them out. Happy and Hail, even better. Use the promo code OG25.
Mm-hmm.
You will save 25%. Go get the app. Use the promo code
Right.
OG25. You'll save 25% on your order. Take a screen grab, email it to me, giglio.joe@gmail.com. That will enter you for a chance to be an executive black card holder.
Look at that.
This card. Oh, into the mic.
Oh my.
This card.
I was not anticipating the clink.
This card in perpetuity, the Caleb Love special for life, will get you 20% off of all of your purchases, in-store purchases at Happy and Hail. Go check them out. Durham, North Hills, Six Forks. Listen, you look at me, look at you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie to you people.
We're big boys.
Not the most fit person in the history of the world.
That's right.
And, there's certain foods that I enjoy. Obviously, they have really good stuff.
They do have really good stuff.
Like really good stuff. Not all the bowls, all those good things, but their smoothies as well. So use that promo code OG25, save 25% on your initial order on the app. The app is wonderful. If it's your birthday, like I got a free bowl coming to me in April because of my birthday. And when you sign up and use the app, you get a free smoothie. So these are all great things. OG25, take a screen grab, email it to me, and you can enter for your chance to win that black card, the executive member black card. Now, you had asked about the Capitals. They will be here in Raleigh on Wednesday. In the interim, tomorrow they'll be in Boston.
Okay.
So,
I mean, there
could be a hat trick in
Boston. I was about
Boston.
to say, you're talking
and
about having to have back-to-back hat tricks.
Then all of a sudden, we're cooking with gas again. So we'll see how this thing goes. The Hurricanes, though, have now won 3 of 4 since that disaster out in LA where they got smoked 7-2. They beat the Islanders yesterday. They won their last 2 games at home. Beat Montreal Friday 4-1. Beat the Islanders 6-4 yesterday, and now get a little bit of a mini break here before they get Ovechkin on Wednesday. As some have pointed out, on the Canes side, we're more likely. Yes, Ovechkin could really set the record against the Hurricanes, but that April 10th game at home seems like it might be more of the likely April 10th. The Canes go to Washington.
Gotcha.
So the Canes could still be part of history.
Indeed.
Let's just knock on wood that it's not on Wednesday.
Would that be for Caniacs? Would it be easier to swallow being the team he did it against versus being the team or being the arena he did it in?
Yeah, there's part of me, and talking to all the guys who cover the Canes, it's like, you know what? It would be kind of cool to see history. It really would.
Yeah.
But part of me is also just like, that's it's in the end, it's always about me and my extra workload.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
3 to start the lightning round?
No. You play every time you go to a new item.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Holy shit. Did you ever work in radio? You got a little transition.
I'm sorry. Did you ever work in radio? That transition is far too long.
Well, we don't have a clock here. So there you go. Also, just so you know, when the music plays, our mics are muted, so no one can hear any of your commentary until the music is over. Houston, Purdue let me down. I was all excited. Purdue, the game was Indianapolis. The bracket luck is real.
Yeah.
I thought Houston had been screwed. Purdue makes a great stop at the end of that game. Now Houston has the ball out under their own basket, and at first, everyone was universally lauding Kelvin Sampson, the Chief.
Yeah.
They were lauding him for this out of bounds play where they scored the game-winning basket, what turned out to be the game-winning basket, which was a layup. I'm not going to show it because CBS will flag it and I won't be able to make money off this episode. You'll just have to trust me. They ran a very nice out of bounds play where the person who was inbounding the ball got the ball back on the pass, scored a layup. They win the game.
An easy layup.
Very easy layup. Me, as someone who bet on Purdue and was seeing red because Purdue should have won the basketball game, I was sitting here going, no, they didn't run a great, quote unquote, great play. The idiot who was guarding the ball on the out of bounds decided to run and leave the basket and never leave your wingman, Maverick. What the fuck are you doing? And so I was getting like mad. I'm ready to fight people on the socials. And then I saw this video. It's actually a thing that Purdue does. They called it peel switch or something, or the guy leaves the passer because when you're setting the screen and the guy comes around the screen, he jumps that. The guy who he's switching with is supposed to then jump back to the person who's inbounding the ball. Yeah. So Houston scouted this. And Houston ran the play knowing it wasn't Fletcher Lawyer. It was the other white guy. It was Jaden, whatever his name is.
There's a lot to choose from.
I know.
Talking about
knowing that he was going to jump to the screener, to the cutter, knowing they ran the play specifically to take advantage of that. So salute to the Chiefs. Salute to Houston, who now is waiting for Duke in the Final Four. While we're all getting caught up in Duke running through the SEC, their next opponent is not from the SEC team. From the SEC, it's Houston. And speaking of the songs and the stories that are woven through tournament history, obviously Houston lost to Duke last year in the Sweet 16 when I don't know how they lost to that outfit from Duke, but they did. Depriving us of feels like an 83 between State and Houston, but probably helping NC State's magic there by not having to play Houston and instead playing Duke last year. So.
Do you ever look at awful announcing or ever look at their tweets online? Yeah. Boy, they were obsessed with nobody in the post-game show addressing the no call on the push-off that Houston had in the play right before the inbound. And I didn't quite understand it because the ball goes out of bounds. It doesn't result in a basket that ties it up, sends it to overtime, anything like that. I just hate the nitpickiness of why aren't we talking about the foul that's not called?
Again, I thought Purdue should have won the basketball game. They got the stop that they needed. They could not get a rebound on that miss. That's where I was having a little bit of a, again, this is gambler brain. This doesn't have anything to do with anything other than having gambler brain. So, all right, now we've saved the best for last on the lightning round. Now I'm going to play another song.
Okay.
To transition to the next item.
Sorry.
Just so you know.
Yes.
All right, Demetri, tell me Bill Belichick never wants to coach in the NFL a game without telling me that Bill Belichick never wants to coach another game in the NFL.
I would say, did you know Bill Belichick celebrates 3/28 as if it is a holiday?
Aha. Yes, that is exactly what I was talking about. And you might be thinking, oh, Giglio, he had the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Let the guy have a little bit of fun. Well, fair. It's fair that you said, oh my gosh, New York Post, how many freaking pop-up ads can you have as I'm trying to pull up this tweet from, or no, it was on the socials. Let's see if the Mail Online is any better. Yes, here we go. Yeah, I mean, just let the guy have some fun. It was the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. They were up 28-3. You see what they did there? It's actually pretty clever. March 28th, they turned it into a thing. And here you see Jordan is with her Dunkin' cup because she's in a Dunkin' commercial.
Sure.
Happy 3/28 to those who celebrate. Bill actually looking fairly slim there. There looks like they're at his office, maybe wherever that office might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy 3/28. That's my man. Oh my gosh, goodness gracious. And you say, well, Joe, just let him have his moment. The Falcons are the team that he interviewed with. They're the only team who were willing to give him another chance. So clearly,
Also,
probably not a great idea to troll the one team. And obviously, you're probably thinking now, well, the Patriots aren't going to hire us. Falcons aren't going to hire us. I got news for you. If you're going to sit here and be obdurate about all this, no one's going to hire you.
do you think there is an ulterior motive here? Bobati has pointed this out to us before, being in New Orleans this year for the Super Bowl and going to whatever party it was that Bill Belichick showed up at and wanted to introduce everybody to Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, he's a man that very much wants you to know he is dating a 24
24.
year old.
Yes.
This is probably a bigger deal to Jordan because, like, it was his 5th Super Bowl, 6th Super Bowl.
Right.
Like, this is where it starts to feel like a little pathetic to me. If the Patriots had done this one time, if the Patriots were a flash in the pan kind of team and all of Boston wanted to relive their one moment of glory, I find it a little less off-putting than I do right now.
Okay. I don't like it in the sense, like, again, you can have some fun, but it's
Sure.
like if you're trying to get back somewhere, and maybe this is him saying, I don't want to be back.
I think
Because now he's just like open season telling you, oh, well, you know,
No,
the NFL's real problem is nepotism.
I disagree.
Look at my 2 kids. Oh, my
That's
gosh.
Right. That's right. I disagree.
Oh, we got Mike
I'm
Lombardi
still-
and his kid on the staff, too. Like,
Listen, I will
nepotism, that's the
reiterate
real
this.
problem.
I will reiterate this every time I'm on with you guys. Every time I write about UNC in the newsletter. On June 2nd, I will believe that Bill Belichick is going to coach a single game.
All right. I know. Yeah. I admire I admire the hill that you're willing to die on. And now, closer to home here now, I know Bill Belichick is all about that life when it comes
Sure.
to being prepared. But if you all security is job security. And I'll let it play again. There's a bucket. Listen to the podcast. Silky balls.
I can't tell you if the quarterback
And
mess up
it's
back. Come on, give me that ball. Give me that ball. Give me that ball. Give me that ball.
Oh, he knocked the ball loose. Now they're playing the ball out. No, practicing, this is how we win championships. I get wet ball drills. You know, Dave Warren is famous for the wet ball drills because of the win over Notre Dame in 2016. You know, he's always telling you about, oh yeah, we do our wet ball drill. The soap though,
Yeah.
like I'm confused.
UNC is really behaving like your buddy that just gets into mountain biking like at age 40. It's like, let me tell you about all this. And you're like, yeah, man, people have been doing this for a long time. You're not the first one. Like, UNC just discovered football and wants everybody to know about it.
All right, I'm really not allowed to break news on the OG,
Oh, no.
but
Who made this rule?
fairly soon our relationship with Breeze Through is going to come to an end,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a force of nature that
Yep.
people can't control. I will tell you this: we could not be here for real without Adam and Breeze Through. We could not. Like we, when I tell you this is not me exaggerating, this is me thanking them, and it's really been amazing, his support for us, and not only for the show but obviously the podcast festival. Our first birthday, we had the food truck out. We're working on something for the first Canes playoff home game to do something at the Breeze Through. So I just wanted to thank Adam for all of his support of this program and all the stuff that we do. Go check them out. Breeze Through on the corner there, obviously the home base, Trinity, Edwards Mill. Go if you're going to the arena for any reason. Dark brews, beers, you name it, gas, maybe the pollen storm. They have a car wash. Okay, all those great things. So I just really, honestly, truly, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank Breeze Through. And then, of course, you know, we're speaking of people to thank the OG Hayes Lancaster, bugsbite.com. I don't know if you know this, but this weather's been kind of wonky.
I'm hearing things. I'm hearing rumblings.
Demetri, I need you to vamp here for a second while I pull up the most recent information that Hayes sent me for April.
Yeah, you want me to vamp about bugs?
You can.
All right.
You can.
So I am now at this place. I think a lot of you are probably here where the second the weather gets remotely warm, ants decide, no, fuck this. We're going inside your house.
Inside. We're coming in.
Yeah. So you've got to have some sort of defense against that, because especially if you are like my family, in that you love to cook and dishes will get to them when we get to them. Boy, is that just bait for all of the things that Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority want to help you avoid.
All right.
Still going?
Nope. So in April,
Fantastic.
our friends have a $29 promotion.
Ooh.
$29 for your first mosquito control service. So here's the deal. As Demetri just said, this is the time of the year. You got to get ready for these bugs. So here's how you prepare your yard. Eliminate standing water. Those flower pots, clogged gutters, bird baths. Keep your grass trimmed. Oh, man. Hayes, you're calling me out here. Mosquitoes love to hide in tall grass and overgrown shrubs. Refresh your water features. If you have a fountain or a pond, keep the water moving.
That's right.
We don't want stagnant water. And now, most importantly, call Mosquito Authority or go to bugsbite.com. Don't wait till mosquitoes take over. Get ahead of the season and schedule your mosquito treatment today. Again, get that first treatment for $29. Now, I'm going to tell you what they told me. Typically, this is for new customers.
Ooh, but
if you tell them, I heard it on the OG, they will honor that deal. So $29 for that first mosquito treatment. Again, go to bugsbite.com. All right, now I saved the best for last. Today is March 31st.
That's right.
Salute to Bananas Foster at the Two Roosters. It's on the Mount Rushmore. It's on the Giglio Mount Rushmore of flavors with peanut butter cookie.
Right.
Okay. However, tomorrow, when the Roosters open back up, it's April.
Yeah.
So we will have new flavors. I am allowed to break news on the OG because April, let's see what Jared called it. April is Professional Athlete Series.
Ooh.
So these are all flavors brought to you by our local professional athletes. Let's start with chocolate and cookie dough. Casey Murphy of the Courage.
Damn.
Chocolate base.
Yes.
With sea salt chip cookie dough chunks. Maybe this will hit you. Chocolate chip carrot cake.
Ooh.
By Denise O'Sullivan from the Courage. A vanilla base with carrot cake pieces, chocolate chips, and cream cheese icing. Lord have mercy. Denise, you are, as Joe Ovius likes to say, you're speaking my love language. All right. Ryan Williams from the Courage has us with a marshmallow Twix latte.
Okay.
Coffee base with crushed Twix and marshmallow fluff swirl. Also sounds like a winner. From the king of the Roosters, even though that should be me, the king of Two Roosters really is Jacob Slavin.
That's true.
Strawberry toffee crunch. Strawberry base with Oreos, toffee bits, and fudge ripple.
Jacob Slavin loves his
toffee. He does. Peanut butter Rocky Road from Jalen Chatfield of the Hurricanes. Peanut butter base.
I love the sound of this.
Peanut butter base with chocolate marshmallow and cookie pieces. Are you kidding me? And then the non-dairy is a fudge brownie. Thanks to Jordan Stahl, a chocolate base with a loads of gluten-free brownies and fudge swirl. Moral of this story. Jared is amazing. The flavors are amazing. One day he will take care of us with an OG flavor. I wait nightly for the text that says, you're in, put me in, coach. But until then, check out all of those amazing flavors at Two Roosters.
Two Roosters. Get ice cream, horny.
Now, that's different than Two Roosters Power Through Crew.
Oh, right.
Two different things.
Right.
All right, that music can only mean one thing. We are out of here on Hey Joe. And since I am incapable of using the OG sports phone, which you can still call this week, you can still call the sports phone. It's there for you. 919-444-2211. It'll just take me a minute to figure out how to get those calls. Joe is going to send them to me. So we are going to have those calls, but brought to you by Nature's Relief, the greatest radio thing I've ever done. I got people angry. So what do? We let them vent on the sports phone. No one's ever taken phone calls in the history of the medium. But it's brought to you by Nature's Weed. the natural relief, man,
Uh,
which is totally legal here in the state of North Carolina. So you vent and then you chill with our friends from Nature's Relief.
can I tell you, Joe Giglio, recently for our anniversary, 20th anniversary,
Yes.
my wife and I went down to Puerto Rico, right?
Okay.
And that required a flight. And I don't know if you've been following the news lately. Flying feels a little dicier than usual.
Yeah.
So I call Joe Ovius and I say, hey, I am pretty freaked out about having to fly. And he says, listen, there's a Nature's Relief not far from your house at all, the one right off of Glenwood Avenue. Go over there, talk to the folks at Nature's Relief. They tell me not only what it is I should buy to relieve that sort of anxiety, but they tell me how to portion it out to last the length of the flight I'm going to be on. Like, it's not just your gas station, behind the gas station stoners working here. These are people that know their shit.
They really do. They're amazing. And
yes.
they're good for both. Like, they're good. Like, hey, if I'm an advanced person, they can help you.
Yep.
If I'm a newbie walking in, be like, yeah, I kind of want to sleep, but I don't want to buzz, or I want to just chill out and have a buzz. They know all of those things.
Yep.
As we know, there is a certain tolerance that I have, and it becomes sleepy time. So no, we do not have the sports one, but we do have Nature's Relief. And also, since I accidentally made this live, even though it will be at 2:00.
Yeah.
Since I accidentally did it this way, let's go to the comments. I had been saving it for this. Let's go start with Bubba Warbuck. Sorry. Stupid birthdays keep coming faster after 50. I can see that. Hey, you know what? That's a good thing. From Russell. Good to see Demetri. It's been a while.
Oh, thank you, Russell.
Yes, of course. Russ, we already get our Grayson Allen was a trip. Gamma New got my Alabama rollback hoodie. Yeah, it actually is. I might have to get you one if you haven't seen them yet. The new school issue.
I wouldn't say no.
The UNC polo. This is the state one. The UNC one is actually fire. Like,
yeah, they all look great.
The quarter zip that they did for Carolina too, off the charts, man. off the charts. From William Wells, I am rooting for Houston and Auburn simply because they've never won it as a school. Okay.
I'm okay with one of those.
I know. From James, the SEC has fully become the Sith Empire.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's fair.
Okay. Well, I'm not quite up on the Star Wars as you.
Listen,
Joe,
let the hate flow through you.
Yes. Let's see. Streets are calling Duke ethical hoops. Ethical source coffee. Ethical hoops. Yeah. All right. Blind Lemon Jello. Run the board with confidence. Listen, man, that's why I did it live, because then I'm not sitting here stumbling and hitting pause and taking all of Demetri's time here.
Listen, it took us a while just to get on air. I think we are. I think once we get going.
Hey, man, the chart had to be done.
No, agreed. I'm not saying that as a complaint. I'm taking people behind the scenes.
We needed the chart, and I circled the champions on the chart as well. I'll post that on the specials. Let's see. Did I miss any other ones that?
There's one down here at the bottom. I'm going to throw up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Get ice cream more.
Yeah,
it's a movement. People are behind it.
Yes. And then T. Yeah, sometimes when I don't know how to hit buttons, I have to sing the songs myself. So
we should talk to someone at Spotify to figure out how to get these songs as a downloadable playlist.
Oh, well, my wish is it does kind of require Rand. I want to do the Mellow Gold commercial where we play "We May Never Pass This Way Again," and then you go to the next song, and it's like the old Eddie Murphy SNL skit, "Wookin' Panub," and then that's what I want to do. So, all right. Before we get out of here, is there anything else you want to reiterate what we're doing with the pod? We are Balls versus Cancer still on.
It is still happening.
It's just not in April.
Right. It was supposed to be April 15th. Circumstances beyond our control. We are having to postpone. We already have a new date. It is going to be Friday, September 19th. 919. It is the Friday before Duke plays State plays at Duke. Okay. Carolina's off. Everyone should be in town. It is going to be a party. The Sklar brothers. They are great. Ovius and Giglio will still be there. In small font. But so if you've already bought tickets, they are still good. If you have not bought tickets, you can buy them now. TheRialto.com or eTix.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Is there any Ovius and Giglio on business? Any OG
no,
on business? Because we have no Ovius this week.
Yeah, we have no Ovius, and then I'm headed out of town on Wednesday. But we will have a new edition of the Women's Basketball Podcast on Wednesday and a new edition of This Team is Killing Us, our Carolina Panthers podcast with me and Brownlow. That will be on Thursday.
All right, Demetri. Appreciate you taking the time, man.
Thank you, Joe.
I'll be back tomorrow. Special guest host will be my friend Chip Patterson.
Oh, Chip.
So we can get knee deep into some Big 12 football depth charts. There's only one person in the world who can do it. Our guy, Chip from CBS Sports. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us today, even on this truncated, weird schedule. It will be. Give me a minute to figure out how to put it up on the podcast form. But hey, here we are. My work's already done for 2 p.m. So appreciate you guys for hanging out with us today.